Good morning, and thank you for watching this, or whenever you are indeed watching it. Many of you that know me know that I like to be organised, that I like to be in control of things. I even like surprises and change as long, again, as I'm in control. But one of the things that pandemic has taught us, if nothing else, is that really there is quite a lot that's out of our control. And for many of us, for many people throughout the world, this Christmas, the second consecutive Christmas, has been very, very different. It's not gone according to plan. And that was the same for us. We planned things for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But because of COVID, it went out the window and it wasn't as we'd planned. So Christmas was completely scuppered. This feeling of being out of control, it's universal. It's something that we all have to cope with at one level or another. And research presented by Youthscape suggests that over half of young people today feel this overwhelming fear of things being almost too problematic and problems being too great. They simply don't know how to manage that. And of course that's true for all of us at one level or another, regardless of age. There are things that we simply can't control. The future isn't always that clear. One of the biggest challenges that we face as believers, of children of God, is learning to trust Him more and more. And if you've been following Simon Guilbeault's Choose Life devotion over the last few days, you'll know that yesterday's session spoke about a man who spoke to Mother Teresa, and he said, "Look, Mother Teresa, will you pray for me?" And she said, "Yeah, all right. What for?" And he said, "For clarity. I want to know what's coming in the future." And her reply was emphatic: "No, I'll not do that. You want clarity. You're hanging on to it, and you've actually got to let go of that." But he said, "But you always seem to be so sure about what you're doing. You seem to have clarity." And she smiled and said, "No, I've never had clarity, but what I've always had is trust." And there's a lesson for each of us there. Does this mean that we haven't to plan, that we haven't to be organised? No, of course it doesn't. That would be daft. Our lives would be chaotic if we didn't do any planning. But perhaps we can learn something to trust God more, to hold our plans a little less tightly. You know, that grip of iron as we want things our way. Proverbs 27 verse 1 reminds us that we don't actually know what tomorrow will bring. So that's a sobering thought, isn't it? And that's what it is. It is a reminder. And Oswald Chambers, a chap that many of you will have heard of, says, "Future plans are uncertain, but we can safely leave everything to God." And then he uses a really interesting and telling phrase. He says, we can be carefully careless. Now what he means by that isn't that we're careless, but that we're appropriately carefree, not weighed down by plans and pressures and worries. God, you see, is never ever overwhelmed. He's never taken by surprise, and he's never scuppered. And Job said he knew that God could do all things, and actually no plan of God's could be thwarted, could be stopped. And if that's really true, if God really does hold the whole world in His hands, and if we trust Him, it's all good and it will all be okay. I'm not saying that that's easy though. So whenever you watch this, and whatever your day holds, in the midst of your schedules and your to-do lists, and even in the midst of the unexpected, those things that you haven't planned for, we can do what we're encouraged to do in Scripture, and in the words of Proverbs 16 verses 3 to 9, commit to the Lord whatever we do. Then we can be sure that our plans will succeed as we allow God to determine our steps. Let's allow God to root us deeply in a place of trust. Thank you.